Welcome once again to Musings by Danon. Today we're going to continue our discussion on various archetypes in Commander. In this video, we're going to talk about Graveyard or Reanimator decks. Before we get started, please like and subscribe for more content. It really does help the channel. Recently, my friend Tomer over at MTG Goldfish posted a short video discussing the new enchantment from Crimson Vow, Necroduality. Necroduality is a new card that lets you make a copy of any non-token zombie when it enters the battlefield. Tomer pointed out that by casting Bladewing the Risen, you can bring back any number of dragons from your graveyard. For those who don't understand the combo, Bladewing is a zombie. So Necroduality makes a token copy of Bladewing. But Bladewing is also legendary. Legendary rules basically state that you can only have one copy, and this must resolve before any other effects. So you keep the token copy of Bladewing on the battlefield and sacrifice the original. But you still have two triggers. So you use one of the triggers to bring back a dragon, and the other trigger to bring back the original Bladewing. Repeat until you have no other dragons in your graveyard. So the goal of this deck is to fill our graveyard full of dragons, and then bring them all back to win the game. We can't rely solely on Necroduality, and graveyard hate is a thing in Commander. So we want to have enough mana to cast our dragons the old-fashioned way. The combo also requires us to be in Grixis, but I couldn't find a commander that I really liked for this setup. Since this deck will more than likely be played by my wife, she agreed that going 4-color with a pair of partners would be fun. And so we're running Kaidel, Chosen of Kruphix, and Vile Smasher the Fierce as our commanders. Before we get to the deck list, let's keep in mind our checklist. 50 mana sources, split between lands and ramp, usually a 37-13 split. 10 pieces of card advantage, 8 to 10 pieces of spot removal, 2 to 3 board wipes, 2 pieces of graveyard hate, and 1 sudden I win card. Now, half of our combo is budget. Bladewing the Risen has been reprinted a bunch of times, and is now only about $1. However, Necroduality is about $20. Additionally, many of the best Reanimator spells are rather expensive. So this will not be a budget build. You can go with cheaper dragons or a more budget mana base in your own build if you want to, but I decided to have fun with this build and go a little crazy with the deck list. Not counting the lands, the deck ends up being about $330. But with the lands, we're over $800. So let's take a closer look at my commanders and why I decided to go with them. Kaidel, Chosen of Kruphix, is a 4-mana, 2/3 legendary human wizard. In addition to being a partner, she can be tapped to add colorless mana equal to the number of cards we've drawn this turn. This deck doesn't draw an insane amount of cards, but having mana ramp in the command zone can help us to cast our dragons if we need to. Vile Smasher the Fierce is a fun, legendary 2/3 Goblin Berserker with partner that says whenever we cast our first spell each turn, a random opponent or planeswalker is dealt damage equal to that spell's converted mana cost. So this gives us some extra damage in the command zone as well. We've already gone over Bladewing the Risen, but what other big scary dragons do we want in our deck? The goal of this deck is to win with a bunch of dragons, and the easiest ways to do that are direct damage or attacking right away. So for direct damage, we're running both Terror of the Peaks and Scourge of Valkus. For haste, we have Karthus, Tyrant of Jund, and Dragonlord Kolaghan. For infinite attacks, we're running the combo of Hellkite Charger and Klauth, Unrivaled Ancient. To help clear out smaller creatures, we're running both Drakuseth, Maw of Flames, and Slumguard, the Drifting Death. To help our dragons deal the most damage, we have Atarka, World Render, Lathless Dragon Queen, and Kolaghan, the Storm's Fury. Rounding out our dragons, we have Nicol the Ravager, Belajos Witherbloom, and Utvara Hellkite. Now we need ways to get our dragons into our graveyard. Sometimes we have dragons in hand but not enough mana to cast them, so to help with that we have Monastery Siege, Faithless Looting, Frantic Search, Windfall, Sarkhan Fireblood, and Song of Creation. Song of Creation is insane in this deck, letting us dig through many cards and dropping our hand into our graveyard at our end step. And if you happen to draw a land instead of a spell, don't worry. You can always cast one of your commanders or one of the many flashback spells we have in the deck. To dig through our deck, we have Forbidden Alchemy, Grisly Salvage, Buried Alive, and Ashiok Dreamrender, who doubles as graveyard hate for our opponents. Finally, we have Underrealm Lich, who, when combined with Song of Creation, offers insane value for digging through our deck and finding our combo pieces. Just a heads up, Underrealm Lich shuts down the extra mana from Kaidel. So if there is graveyard hate on the board and you're trying to draw a bunch of cards to cast your dragons the old-fashioned way, do not play Underrealm Lich. Finally, for additional card draw, we have Phyrexian Arena, as well as a Demonic Tutor to find any combo piece we're missing. Now, once our dragons are in the graveyard, we want to be able to bring them back. So we've got Reanimate, Animate Dead, Obsessive Stitcher, and Shieldred Whispering One as single target options, as well as Living Death, Agadeem's Awakening, and Haunting Voyage as mass reanimation spells. These also serve as our Sudden I Win cards. And just in case we need to cast any of these spells again, we have Eternal Witness, Dryad's Revival, and Mystic Retrieval. For spot removal and interaction, we've got Chaos Warp, Bedevil, Negate, Rakdos Charm, Infernal Grasp, Naturalize, Ancient Grudge, Terminate, Assassin's Trophy, and Beast Within. Finally, Crux of Fate clears out all non-dragons for us, clearing the way to victory. Now we may need to cast our spells the old-fashioned way, depending on what graveyard hate our opponents are running. So to help with that, we have the already mentioned Sarkhan Fireblood, as well as Soul Ring and Arcane Signet as our mana rocks. Solemn Simulacrum, Sakura Tribe Elder, Cultivate, Kodama's Reach, and Rampant Growth let us fetch some of our basics, while 3 Visits, Skyshroud Claim, and Farseek let us fetch specific land types. Finally, to let us play extra lands per turn, we've got Azusa Lost but Saking and a Dryad of the Elysian Grove. Now we come to lands, and the most expensive part of our deck. We're running 6 Shock lands, as well as 2 Triomes, each of which can be fetched by a Farseek. We're running the 6 Slow lands from the new Innistrad set, the Bond lands from Battle Bond and Commander Legends, 6 Fetch lands, a Command Tower, an Exotic Orchard, 3 Swamps, 3 Mountains, 2 Forests, and 1 Island. So let's take a look at our deck and see how it compares to our checklist. 50 mana sources, right on target. 14 pieces of card advantage, counting filling our graveyard. 11 pieces of interaction. 2 board wipes, one of them a creature. 2 pieces of graveyard hate. 3 Sudden I Win cards, assuming our dragons are in the graveyard, not counting our combo that we're basing the deck around, Necroduality and Bladewing the Risen. Our deck checks all the boxes and is a ton of fun to play. It's not the fastest deck out there. It feels like you're kind of dirtling around until turn 7 or 8, just sculpting your hand and graveyard until you suddenly win out of nowhere. I'm so excited to build this deck for my wife and expect lots of angry glares when she plays it at our local game store. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cute Stuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, there's a link to her Fiverr page below. Let me ask one more time for you to please like and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you all again next time.